Lawrence Kohlberg's groundbreaking work on moral development revolutionized our understanding of human ethics. His theory, which proposed that individuals progress through stages of moral reasoning, continues to influence fields from education to psychology. As we delve into the extraordinary life and legacy of this pioneering psychologist, get ready to uncover the fascinating story behind the man who changed the way we think about right and wrong. Born in 1927 in Bronxville, New York, Kohlberg grew up in a family that valued education and social justice. His parents, both from Jewish families, encouraged his curiosity and nurtured his interest in philosophy and ethics from an early age. I recall my colleagues in the field often noting how Kohlberg's childhood experiences likely influenced his later theories on moral reasoning, particularly in regards to the importance of familial and societal influences. Kohlberg's educational journey began at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, where he excelled academically and developed a strong interest in psychology. He then went on to study psychology at the University of Chicago, where he was exposed to the works of prominent psychologists such as Jean Piaget and Erik Erikson. It was during this time that Kohlberg became fascinated with the concept of moral development and began to formulate his own theories on the subject. My experience with clients has shown me that this period of exploration is crucial in shaping one's professional trajectory, and Kohlberg's case is no exception. One of the key events that shaped Kohlberg's theoretical contributions was his time spent working with delinquent boys at a correctional facility in Illinois. This experience led him to question the traditional views on morality and punishment, and instead focus on understanding the underlying reasoning processes that guide human behavior. He began to develop his stage theory of moral development, which proposed that individuals progress through a series of stages, each characterized by a distinct level of moral reasoning. For instance, consider the example of a child who steals a toy from a friend. At an early stage of moral development, they might justify their actions by saying, "I wanted the toy," whereas at a later stage, they might recognize the harm caused to their friend and apologize. Kohlberg's work was heavily influenced by his contemporaries, including Piaget, who had also explored the concept of moral development in children. However, Kohlberg's approach differed significantly, as he focused on the cognitive processes underlying moral reasoning, rather than just the social and emotional aspects. This distinction is crucial, as it highlights the complex interplay between biological, psychological, and social factors that shape our moral compass. As I often tell my clients, understanding this interplay is essential for developing a more nuanced and empathetic approach to morality. As Kohlberg's theory gained recognition, he became a prominent figure in the field of psychology, known for his charismatic teaching style and his ability to make complex concepts accessible to a wide audience. His relationships with other notable psychologists, such as Erik Erikson and Carl Rogers, also played a significant role in shaping his ideas and approaches. Despite the accolades, Kohlberg's work was not without controversy. Some critics argued that his theory was too narrow, focusing primarily on Western, educated, and affluent populations, while neglecting the experiences of marginalized groups. These criticisms are essential to consider, as they highlight the limitations of any theoretical framework and the need for ongoing refinement and expansion. As Kohlberg's theory of moral development continued to evolve, he became increasingly interested in the ways that social and cultural factors influence our moral reasoning. He spent several years conducting research on moral development in different cultures, including a notable study in Taiwan, where he found that individuals from collectivist cultures tended to prioritize the needs of the group over individual rights. This challenged his initial assumption that his stage theory was universally applicable, and he began to consider the importance of cultural context in shaping moral values. One of the most significant relationships in Kohlberg's life was with his colleague and friend, Elliot Turiel. Turiel, a prominent psychologist in his own right, shared Kohlberg's interest in moral development, and the two collaborated on several projects. Together, they explored the distinction between moral and social conventional reasoning, arguing that moral principles are based on universal values such as justice and human rights, whereas social conventions are based on cultural norms and traditions. This collaboration not only deepened our understanding of moral development, but also highlighted the complexities of navigating different cultural contexts. Kohlberg's work was also influenced by his experiences as a teacher and educator. He believed that moral education should be an integral part of every child's schooling, and he developed a number of innovative programs aimed at promoting moral reasoning and development in young people. One such program, known as the Just Community School, brought together students, teachers, and parents to create a democratic and participatory community that encouraged open discussion and debate about moral issues. This approach not only fostered a sense of community, but also empowered students to take an active role in shaping their own moral values. Despite his many contributions to the field of psychology, Kohlberg's work was not without its critics. Some argued that his stage theory was too rigid and failed to account for individual differences in moral development. Others criticized his emphasis on cognitive reasoning, arguing that moral development is also influenced by emotional and social factors. These criticisms notwithstanding, Kohlberg's work remains a cornerstone of modern moral psychology, and his ideas continue to influence research and practice in fields such as education, law, and public policy. As Kohlberg delved deeper into the complexities of moral development, he became increasingly fascinated by the role of social and cultural factors in shaping our moral values. His research in Taiwan, for instance, had highlighted the significance of collectivist cultures in prioritizing group needs over individual rights. This sparked a new line of inquiry as Kohlberg sought to explore how different cultural contexts influenced moral reasoning and development. One notable example that caught his attention was the contrast between individualist and collectivist societies. In individualist cultures, such as the United States, moral decisions often centered around personal autonomy and individual rights. In contrast, collectivist cultures, like those found in many Asian societies, emphasized the importance of group harmony and social cohesion. Kohlberg's research revealed that individuals from collectivist cultures tended to prioritize the greater good over individual interests, whereas those from individualist cultures focused more on personal freedoms and entitlements. Kohlberg's collaboration with Elliot Turiel also led to a deeper exploration of the distinction between moral and social conventional reasoning. They argued that moral principles, such as justice and human rights, were based on universal values that transcended cultural norms. In contrast, social conventions were rooted in cultural traditions and varied significantly across different societies. This dichotomy had significant implications for moral education, as it suggested that educators should focus on promoting universal moral values rather than simply imparting cultural norms. Kohlberg's work also intersected with the ideas of other prominent psychologists, such as John Piaget and Carl Rogers. While Piaget's theory of cognitive development laid the foundation for Kohlberg's stage theory, Rogers' person-centered approach emphasized the importance of empathy and self-actualization in moral development. Kohlberg's relationships with these contemporaries not only shaped his ideas, but also reflected the dynamic and evolving nature of psychological thought during this period. As Kohlberg's theory continued to evolve, he faced criticisms from some quarters that his approach was too narrow, neglecting the experiences of marginalized groups and non-Western cultures. Some argued that his stage theory was based on a limited sample of affluent, educated individuals, and that it failed to account for the diverse moral values and practices found in other societies. These criticisms prompted Kohlberg to re-examine his assumptions and consider the need for a more nuanced and culturally sensitive approach to moral development. In response to these challenges, Kohlberg embarked on a new series of studies, exploring moral development in a wider range of cultural contexts. He collaborated with researchers from diverse backgrounds, incorporating their perspectives and insights into his work. This expanded research agenda allowed Kohlberg to refine his theory, acknowledging the complexity and variability of human moral experience. By engaging with criticisms and limitations, Kohlberg's work became more robust and inclusive, reflecting the rich diversity of human moral values and practices. Kohlberg's commitment to moral education also led him to develop innovative programs aimed at promoting moral reasoning and development in young people. This approach not only fostered a sense of community, but also empowered students to take an active role in shaping their own moral values, preparing them for responsible citizenship and ethical decision-making in an increasingly complex world. His tireless pursuit of knowledge, his willingness to engage with criticisms, and his commitment to fostering a more compassionate and just society have inspired generations of researchers, educators, and practitioners. With this thoughtful reflection, our exploration of Lawrence Kohlberg's remarkable life comes full circle, inviting us to contemplate the significance of moral development in our own lives and the world around us. That's all for today's Psych with Sigmund. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.